The first time Vanessa called me, just the maid, she didn't even lower her voice. She said it right there at the dinner table, in front of everyone. And the crazy part? People laughed. Not loudly. Not like it was a joke worthy of the room. Just those quiet little rich people laughs, the kind people use when they don't want to offend someone important. I remember standing there holding a silver tray, so tightly my fingers actually hurt. Crystal chandeliers glowing overhead. Soft violin music playing somewhere in the background. Expensive perfume hanging in the air. And me. I suddenly felt smaller than I ever had in my life. Vanessa leaned back in her chair, sipping champagne like she owned the world. "Relax," she said with a smirk. "She's sensitive. Staff usually are." Staff. Not 𝗬𝐸𝗁. Not the woman who had spent 7 years taking care of her mother. Not the woman who cleaned Eleanor's blood after surgeries, who stayed awake through nights in hospital rooms, who held her hand during panic attacks. No. Just the maid. I looked toward Eleanor. And honestly, I think that hurt the most. Because she heard it. She heard every word. But she just sat there quietly staring down at her plate. No defense. "No, that's enough, Vanessa." Nothing. And in that moment, something inside me cracked a little. Not loudly. Just enough to hurt. 3 weeks later, Eleanor Whitmore died. And when the inheritance lawyer arrived at the mansion, everything that family believed about power, money, and loyalty completely fell apart. You ever walk into a house so beautiful it almost makes you uncomfortable? That was the Whitmore mansion. The first night I arrived there, rain was pouring so hard it blurred the windows. The entire estate looked cold, too perfect, like nobody actually lived there. I almost turned around before ringing the bell. I should probably tell you something. By that point in my life, I was exhausted. Completely exhausted. I was 34, freshly divorced, drowning in debt, and still trying to recover from losing my mother. Caregiving jobs were the only work I could find consistently. So when the agency offered me a live-in position caring for Eleanor Whitmore, I took it immediately. Even though everybody in town knew the Whitmores were difficult. The butler opened the front door and looked me up and down like I was already disappointing him. "You're late." I blinked. "Actually, I'm early." He stared at me for a second. Then turned and walked away without apologizing. That should have been my warning. Eleanor Whitmore was 78 years old when I met her. Elegant. Sharp. Intimidating, honestly. Even after her first stroke, she carried herself like someone used to being listened to. Her husband, Arthur Whitmore, had built one of the largest real estate companies in the state before he died. Old money. Powerful connections. Magazine cover kind of wealth. But the strange thing about huge houses is this. They echo when nobody loves each other inside them. And that house echoed constantly. I met her children during my first week. Vanessa, the oldest, treated conversations like competitions she needed to win. Daniel only visited when business was involved. And Caroline, well, Caroline mastered the art of pretending to care. She'd kiss her mother's cheek, post photos online, then disappear for weeks. Meanwhile, Eleanor needed help standing. Needed help eating some mornings. Needed someone there. Actually there. So, I stayed. At first, Eleanor barely spoke to me outside instructions. Tea. Less sugar. Curtains open. Turn that television nonsense off. But little by little, things changed. I started noticing she'd wait for me before eating breakfast. She asked questions about my childhood. One night we sat in silence watching an old black and white movie, and suddenly she said, "My children think expensive gifts replace presents." I looked over at her carefully. She kept staring at the television. Then she whispered something I never forgot. "Loneliness feels louder when you're surrounded by people." God. That sentence stayed with me. Because I realized she wasn't afraid of dying. She was afraid of being emotionally abandoned before she died. And honestly, that had already happened. The insults started slowly. Tiny little cuts. Vanessa complaining I folded towels wrong. Daniel joking that I probably listened outside doors. Caroline once asked me, dead serious, "So 𝗬cie, what's it like seeing this level of wealth every day?" Like I was some zoo animal being studied. I smiled anyway. You learn to survive people like that. Especially when you work in caregiving. People think kindness means you're weak. What they don't understand is, staying calm takes strength. Real strength. Still, some nights I cried privately in my room. Not because of the work. Because of humiliation. Because no matter how much I did for that family, I always felt invisible. Except to Eleanor. She noticed everything. Even the things I tried hiding. Then came the night of her second stroke. I still can't talk about it without getting chills. It was after 2 in the morning when I heard something crash upstairs. I ran so fast I nearly slipped. Eleanor was lying on the bathroom floor struggling to breathe. Her lips were trembling. One side of her face had dropped. "Eleanor, hey, stay with me." I grabbed my phone with shaking hands while trying to keep her conscious. And then she grabbed my wrist. Hard. Her eyes filled with fear. Real fear. "Please," she whispered. "Don't let me die alone. I swear to you." Something broke inside me hearing that. Nobody should have to say those words. Nobody. At the hospital I stayed beside her for 14 hours straight. 14. Vanessa sent flowers. Daniel texted once asking for updates. Caroline posted, "Pray for my mom," online. But none of them came. Not one. Eleanor noticed that too. After that night, she changed. She became quieter. More reflective. Sometimes I'd catch her staring at her children during dinners with this sadness in her eyes that I still can't explain. Like she finally understood something painful about her own life. Then came her 80th birthday dinner. The night everything exploded. The mansion looked unreal that evening. Live musicians. Caterers everywhere. Politicians laughing too loudly. Champagne flowing like water. And Eleanor. She looked exhausted. Halfway through dinner, she tried standing too quickly and almost lost balance. I rushed forward instinctively. "Careful," Vanessa slammed her glass down. "Oh my God, 𝗬cie, stop hovering." The room went quiet. "I'm just helping her," I said softly. Vanessa laughed. That cold, polished kind of laugh rich people use when they're about to humiliate someone. "You're a maid," she said. "Not family." I felt every face turn toward me. And before I could even respond, she added, "Honestly, sometimes she acts like she owns this place." A couple guests laughed awkwardly. My face burned. Then Vanessa tilted her head and delivered the sentence that stayed in my head for weeks. "Know your place. You know what's strange? Humiliation isn't always loud. Sometimes it's incredibly quiet. Sometimes it's just your heartbeat pounding in your ears while you try not to cry in front of strangers. I looked at Eleanor. Please, I thought. Please say something. But she didn't. And that silence hurt more than Vanessa's words ever could. I quietly set the tray down, walked upstairs, and cried alone in the laundry room. Not dramatic crying. Just exhausted crying. The kind where your chest hurts. A few minutes later, the door creaked open. Eleanor stood there holding the wall for support. She looked devastated. I should have stopped her, she whispered. I wiped my face quickly. It's okay. No, she said immediately. It isn't okay. Silence filled the room. Then she asked me something strange. Rosa, if people keep hurting you, when do you finally leave? I stared at her for a second. Then answered honestly. When staying hurts more than leaving. She nodded slowly. And for some reason. She looked relieved. 3 weeks later, I found Eleanor dead in her bed. Peaceful. Quiet. Gone. The teacup slipped from my hand and shattered across the floor when I realized she wasn't breathing. I still remember kneeling beside her bed whispering, no, 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 even though deep down, I already knew. The funeral was massive. People who ignored her for years suddenly spoke about her beautiful legacy. I wanted to scream. Vanessa cried dramatically in front of cameras. Daniel kept answering business calls outside the church. Caroline posted emotional tributes online before the burial was even over. And honestly, I felt sick watching it. After the funeral, everyone gathered in the mansion library for the inheritance reading. I wasn't planning to attend. But as I turned to leave, the lawyer looked up. Miss Rosa Delgado. Yes? Mrs. Whitmore specifically requested your presence. The room changed instantly. Vanessa frowned. Why would she include the maid? The lawyer ignored her. And suddenly, I had a very bad feeling in my stomach. He opened the folder slowly. To my children, I leave all investments, company assets, and trust holdings divided equally. Vanessa relaxed immediately. Daniel smirked. Caroline exhaled in relief. Then the lawyer continued. However, the Whitmore residence, including all land rights and personal property, will transfer solely to Rosa Delgado. Silence. Pure silence. I literally thought I misheard him. Vanessa stood up so fast her chair scraped violently across the floor. What? The lawyer calmly adjusted his glasses. It is legally binding. Daniel looked stunned. Caroline started crying instantly. And Vanessa? Oh, she looked furious. That woman manipulated my mother. I couldn't even breathe properly. Then the lawyer unfolded another paper. A personal letter from Mrs. Whitmore. And suddenly, Eleanor's voice filled that room one final time. If you are hearing this, then I am finally at peace. Nobody moved. My children inherited my wealth because they shared my blood. But Rosa inherited my home because she shared my loneliness. I covered my mouth trying not to cry. The lawyer continued reading. She stayed beside me when nobody else would. She treated me with dignity when my own family treated me like responsibility. Vanessa whispered, "This is insane." Then came the line that destroyed the room completely. The greatest regret of my life is realizing too late that the person who loved me most arrived as a stranger. Caroline burst into tears. Daniel looked down at the floor. And Vanessa snapped. She was just the maid. That's when I finally spoke. Quietly. But clearly. No, I said. I was the only one who stayed. And suddenly, nobody had anything left to say. The family fought the will for months. The tabloids called me manipulative. Strangers online accused me of stealing from a dying woman. But Eleanor had prepared for all of it. Medical records, witnesses, signed statements. She knew exactly who her children were. And deep down, so did they. Eventually the court dismissed the case. The mansion officially became mine. But here's the truth nobody expects. I never wanted the house. I wanted the woman who used to sit beside me watching old movies back. The mansion just felt empty after she was gone. Too quiet. Too cold. So eventually, I sold it. And with the money, I opened a care home for abandoned elderly people. A real one. Warm meals. Music nights. Gardens. Human conversation. A place where nobody would ever whisper, "Please don't let me die alone." I named it Eleanor House. And every single night before closing, I walk past the front entrance and read the plaque hanging near the doors. Love is shown by presence. And honestly, I think Eleanor would have liked that.